WrestleMania Night 2 is in the books, and although it was by and large an uneven night of wrestling, at moments it was an illustration of what WWE can be at its best, peaking with the hilarious antics of the Jackass comedy match and the nostalgia pop of Stone Cold Steve Austin delivering maybe the ugliest stunner in history to Vince McMahon. On the other hand, Night 2 wrapped up with one of the more predictable main events in recent Mania history, with Roman Reigns holding both brand titles high. We dive into Mania 38 Night 2 on this episode of WrestleJuice. Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. So WrestleMania 38 Night 2, like I said in that intro right there, it's in the books. I'm going to talk about that in a second. If you want to get my thoughts on WrestleMania 38 Night 1, that video is available. If you want a more in-depth approach where me and Larson, my best friend, take about an hour for each night, head over to the Going In Raw channel. We got a whole podcast over there. Go check that out and subscribe to that. Why don't you? It's also available wherever audio podcasts can be found. I'm doing this because it's on phones. But yeah, let me go ahead and throw you my WrestleMania 38 Night 2 WrestleJuice review. Shorter form. Don't have to take as much time to get the info. Before I get started, thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hey man, let's help WrestleJuice continue to grow and stuff so I can keep on giving you short form stuff. So yeah, my general thoughts about WrestleMania 38 Night 2. I thought that it lacked the emotional heft of the Night 1 Bianca versus Becky Lynch match. I thought that match was a really great emotional anchor for Night 1. And I'll be honest, I even kind of felt like the Ronda Rousey Charlotte Flair match was now that I think back on, I'm like, man, I kind of dug that match. I wasn't huge on any of what was happening before it. The match itself I kind of liked, and I liked that Charlotte won. I felt like Night 2 lacked a big, hefty, emotional wrestling moment. I'm actually starting with the bad here. I thought that the main event, the Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar thing, I feel like the match itself, they didn't really bring anything new to the equation. These guys have wrestled, I think, 6 pay-per-views before this in their history, headlining pay-per-views, headlining pay-per-views. And I feel like that match didn't really bring much new to a standard Roman Brock match. It's usually just finisher, and nothing really means anything. We got the outcome we sort of figured we'd get, and that's Roman Reigns holding both those titles like an awesome W Wrestling thumbnail, right? Or a Wrestling News Now thumbnail. That's sort of the bad. The good is in the entertainment value I got out of the Jackass match, and of course, all the Pat McAfee, Austin Theory, Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff. That stuff was wildly entertaining. And as we said on the Going In Raw podcast, it sort of illustrated the best of what WWE has to offer. WWE has a couple things going for it. Number one, they can do everything bigger than any wrestling promotion on the planet. They could put more money into it. They could do the spectacle thing better than anybody else. They also do sports entertainment better than anybody else. Emphasis on the entertainment. Now, I know a lot of people don't like that term. However, I think there's a place for entertainment in pro wrestling, hence the sports entertainment. And what we saw with the Pat McAfee, Austin Theory stuff, when Vince McMahon got in the ring and ripped off his shirt and he had a tank top on and he was ready to throw down and he started laying out Pat McAfee with these really weird looking clotheslines. And then Austin comes down and he gets stunners for everybody and Vince sells maybe the worst stunner in history. It was wildly entertaining and I really love that stuff. I love that aspect of pro wrestling or sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. I really enjoy that stuff. I thought that was really, really fun. And I thought that made up for the lack of that emotional, hefty match that we thought we might have got. Like I thought Edge versus AJ might have given us that. A couple other contenders, like, yeah, the tag match, RK Bro. Let me go ahead and just dive into it here. I'll do a match-by-match breakdown. Number one, some emotional heft, if you want that, is the Triple H promo at the beginning. He came out with his boots. He left him in the ring because he had already announced last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever that he's retiring. And then he introed WrestleMania. It was great to see him. That was a really wonderful moment. He was always one of my favorite guys back in the day. I mean, hell, all the way up to him creating one of my favorite brands ever, NXT 1.0. And so it was nice to see him get that measure of closure perhaps on his in-ring career now that he understands that it's done with. So I thought that was a really lovely moment. After that, we had RK Bro versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Look, man, I thought this match was fine. I thought it was a lot of fun. It really didn't come across as anything bigger or better than what we would have had in like a Raw main event, or like this match really felt like a match that could have opened a Monday Night Raw, like a decent Monday Night Raw, but it felt like it could have opened the Raw. And the Gable Steveson stuff at the end, I thought that was a nice little WrestleMania type moment. That's the kind of thing that only happens at WrestleMania. And I like that. That was fine. Remains to be seen whether or not Gable Stevenson's going to bring anything new to the table as well. So we'll find out about that, I'm sure, sooner than later. We had a Moss versus Bobby Lashley. Kind of surprising at first when I saw Bobby Lashley win this match. I thought they were really building up a Moss, and it made me think, I wonder if they were building up a Moss all this time just so that Bobby Lashley could beat him and become another contender for Roman Reigns, or whatever's going to end up happening if Roman Reigns does decide to vacate that WWE title and just leave that on Raw. I think that's a distinct possibility. I really don't want that to happen because I'm actually in favor of title unification and Roman holding both those titles for at least like a year or something, or maybe even to the draft. I don't know. But I do kind of wonder if this Moss build over these months has just been to have Bobby Lashley come in and prove his credentials. Maybe not. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Bobby Lashley's been gone for a little while. Of course, he was taken out of the match at Elimination Chamber. So I don't know what to think about this. Maybe it just means they don't think Moss is ready, and this was the match that sort of proved it. I don't know. You can't really do much with Moss, can you, though? He's not terribly good in the ring. I really like his mic work. I think he's actually pretty fun as a character. It's just he's really limited by what he can do in the ring. Next up, Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. Man, I can go on and on about this match. This was wildly fun. I love the giant hand slapping down Sami Zayn, the giant rat trap, the table that had all the rat traps on it. Wee man slamming Sami Zayn was like my WrestleMania moment of the night. I thought that was awesome. I thought everybody did a great job. And you know the most impressive thing about this? You know how we all like to sit around and talk shit about Kevin Dunn and his TV production on WWE main roster stuff? If you break down this match, it was actually expertly produced for television. That moment when Sami Zayn comes running around the corner and that giant hand sort of comes out of nowhere and it slaps into him was brilliantly produced. You got to give credit where credit's due. Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of Kevin Dunn with all the cuts and the crash zooms and stuff. But this match was actually a sign that, hey, when this guy wants to be a really good TV director, he can be a really good TV director. I thought this match was awesome. I thought it was hilarious, and I loved every second of it. And I loved Kevin Owens on Twitter hyping this match up as it was happening as well. I love seeing like best friends shout each other out. It's great. Next up, we had women's tag team match. Sasha Banks, Naomi versus Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler and Natalya versus Zelina Vega and Carmella. That's a lot of people. It's 8 people in this match. I thought this match was fun. I thought it was fine. Again, I'm not sure, much like the opening men's tag match, I'm not sure if this brought anything really new to wrestling. Although Sasha Banks did get her WrestleMania moment. I guess she finally got a win at WrestleMania because apparently she had never won at WrestleMania. And so that was cool. It's great to see her and Naomi. I thought Zelina Vega and Carmella were fine as I like them both quite a bit. I thought they were fine as heel tag champions. I'm still not huge on the women's tag titles anyways, because they just sort of throw teams together and that's their women's mid card. But I think the titles look great on Sasha and Naomi. Hopefully they can do some good work, and hopefully they really start to solidify a women's tag division. Hopefully Zelina and Carmella don't just split up and go their separate ways as singles or feud. I'd like to see actual tag teams form if they're going to have a women's tag division. Next up, we've got AJ Styles versus Edge. Oh, by the way, that Volt colored Lambo that Sasha came in. Oh boy, God, that was awesome. Next up, AJ Styles versus Edge. Apparently Edge hit his head. That's why he had that giant bleeding chunk of flesh out of his head there. On the way out, he hit it on the WrestleMania sign thing. And I don't know if that threw him off or if Edge is going for a more methodical. I mean, given that he sort of stole the Undertaker's presentation if he's trying to aim to do like Undertaker matches that are just more sort of slow and methodical. I wasn't really into this match. I feel like it maybe picked up a little bit towards the finish. We got to see Damian Priest, the first new faction member of Edge's new faction, and that sort of gave AJ a distraction enough for Edge to get the win here. But there is something lacking here, and I don't know what it is. I really don't. Both these guys are world-class wrestlers. AJ Styles especially is like a top 5 wrestler on the planet, I think. But there was something sort of lacking in this match. I don't really know what it was. Maybe it needed a crisper pace. Maybe Edge was going for something different with this new character in the ring. To me, it sort of fell flat, though. Not my favorite match on the card. After that, we had Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus The New Day. Blink and you'd miss this match. It was like 2 minutes long. I'm glad they got on the card. That's good. I'm sure none of those guys are particularly happy that they were relegated to about 2 minutes. I did love the New Day's Big E shout out with their gear and the hip wiggle and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was really lovely. Then we had Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. Again, like I said at the beginning, man, this was wildly fun. Pat McAfee is pretty awesome. I love that they had the White Stripes intro music for him. Thought that was great. The cheerleaders, the punt to the crowd. Thought that was good. I thought he held his own in there against Austin Theory. I thought that missed senton looked like it hurt, but man, he absolutely killed it in the ring. Pat did a wonderful job. Michael Cole in commentary, cheering on Pat McAfee. I thought that was great. In the end, of course, McAfee gets that roll-up win on Austin Theory. Vince gets pissed off. McAfee calls out Vince. Vince hulks out, gets in the ring, starts throwing down with Pat McAfee, lays him out with a bunch of clotheslines. Him and Austin Theory, of course, Austin Theory helps him out. Him and Austin Theory start celebrating. Steve Austin comes down, drops Austin Theory, who just flies out of the ring on that stunner cell. Then him and Vince sips the beer, makes sure it tastes okay. He gets the worst stunner I've ever seen in my life. If you haven't seen it, go to Mick Foley's Twitter account. His son was filming him as this stunner happened to get his reaction. He was dying laughing. It's awesome to watch. And then, of course, Pat McAfee gets in there. He gets stunned as well. And then he's sitting there drinking beer. The whole thing was so surreal. Austin was laughing his ass off the entire time. I had a big old smile on my face the entire time. Wildly fun stuff. Definitely check it out if you haven't. It was my highlight of the night. And then after that, we had Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Like I said at the head of the show, man, I'm not sure how many permutations you can have of this match. It always ends up being the same thing. Just to finish. A lot of milling about. In this case, Roman Reigns is now a bad guy, so he's looking for ways to cheat. Brock really never did that when he was a bad guy. He was just a dominator guy. And in the end, Roman Reigns gets his win. There was some chatter about Roman possibly being hurt. Maybe that's why they had to wrap it up sooner than later. I don't know about that. He seemed like his shoulder seems fine. Maybe there was some bruising on his tricep. Who knows? He's supposed to have some sort of announcement here on Raw. I'm filming this about an hour before that. So we'll see. Maybe we'll find out what they're going to do with the titles. What do you guys think in the comments below? Do you guys want to see a unified title, Roman Reigns dominating everything? Or would you want to see him vacate that title and stay on SmackDown and have everybody else fight over that title? And if so, who would you like to see as that first new Raw champion, the WWE champion or whatever? Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of WrestleMania 38 night 2? And then I'm going to be going through those predictions and saying, don't edit any of them. Don't edit those predictions because I'll know and I'll immediately disqualify you. I want to see if anybody got those picks right for WrestleMania. So you'll be entered into a drawing to get something. We'll see. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching. There she is. There's my girl right there. Sleeping. What are you doing? Did I wake you up? Sorry. I didn't really mean to do that. I mean, I did mean to do that. Check out one of these other videos over here. I've got yesterday's WrestleMania Night 1 review, and I got an old episode of Steve Thunder. Check that out. It needs more love. It needs more views. We'll see you guys there.